The stars twinkled in the dark void of space as the large alien ship moved slowly toward Earth. It was the year 2085, and humans had been watching the skies for signs of alien life for centuries. Now, finally, they had their answer. Captain Allen. Miller stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, his heart beating fast as he watched the approach of the Galactic Council's ship. It was 3 times the size of his vessel, with strange blue lights that pulsed along its silver hull. At 42 years old, with gray starting to show in his dark hair, Miller had never thought he would be the one to make first contact with aliens. But here he was. "They're hailing us, sir," said Lieutenant Susan Clark, her fingers moving quickly over the glowing control panel. Miller took a deep breath. "Put them through." The main screen lit up, showing an alien face. The being had purple skin, large black eyes, and no visible nose. When it spoke, its thin lips moved in a way that didn't match the English words they all heard. "I am High Counselor Zex Varan of the Galactic Council. We come in peace to welcome humanity to the galactic community." Miller stepped forward. "I am Captain Alan Miller of the United Earth Defense Force. On behalf of all humans, we welcome you to our solar system and look forward to peaceful relations." 3 days later, Miller led a team aboard the Council ship for formal talks. With him were Dr. Kevin Jones, Earth's leading xenobiologist, and Ambassador Olivia Martin, a skilled diplomat with 20 years of experience. They were escorted to a large meeting room with a round table and strange curved chairs. "These talks will shape the future of Earth," Ambassador Martin whispered as they took their seats. "Let's make a good impression." High Counselor Zex Varan entered with 4 other aliens of different species. One looked like a tall insect with 4 arms, another had red scales and yellow eyes. The third was almost human-looking except for its blue skin and 6 fingers on each hand. The fourth was small and gray with huge eyes, looking like the classic aliens from old Earth movies. "We have studied your planet for some time," Zex Varan said after they sat down. "Your species has developed quickly, perhaps too quickly." Dr. Jones leaned forward. "You've been studying us? For how long?" "A mere 50 of your Earth years," said the insect-like alien. "We set up monitoring stations in your system before your people reached your moon." Miller felt a chill run down his spine. Something wasn't right here. "And you never thought to introduce yourselves until now?" "Your species needed time to mature," Zex Varan said with a dismissive wave of his 3-fingered hand. "Many young species destroy themselves when they discover they are not alone. We were cautious." As the meeting continued, Miller became more uneasy. The aliens talked about integration protocols and development supervision. They spoke about Earth as if it were a child needing guidance, not an equal partner. During a break, Miller pulled Dr. Jones aside. "Something's wrong. They're treating us like we're pets, not partners." Jones nodded. "I feel it too. And look at this." He held up a small device. "I brought a scanner. There are hidden devices all over this room. They're recording everything." When the meeting resumed, Miller decided to test his suspicions. "Before we continue, I'd like to know more about the other members of the Galactic Council. How many species are there? What are your laws regarding new members?" Zex Varan's expression changed slightly. "That information will be provided when Earth is ready. For now, you need only follow our guidance." "And if we choose our own path?" Ambassador Martin asked. The blue-skinned alien spoke for the first time. "That would be unwise. The Council has protocols for species that resist integration." Miller stood up suddenly. "I think we need to be clear here. Earth is an independent planet. We're happy to join a galactic community as equals, but we won't be controlled." Zex Varan's large black eyes narrowed. "You misunderstand, Captain. This is not a negotiation." That's when Dr. Jones gasped, looking at his scanner. "Captain, I'm picking up energy readings. They're scanning the Defiant." Miller tapped his communication badge. "Miller to Defiant. Status report." The voice of his first officer came through, filled with static. "Captain, the alien ship is using some kind of beam on us. Our systems are..." The connection cut off. Miller faced Zex Voran. "What are you doing to my ship?" "A simple security measure," the alien replied. "We cannot allow your vessel to report back until we complete our assessment of your species." Ambassador Martin stood up now too. "This is a violation of our trust. We came here in good faith." "Your faith is irrelevant," Zex Voran said coldly. "The Council has already determined that humans are too aggressive and unpredictable to join as equals. You will be contained and studied. Some of you will be relocated for deeper analysis." "You mean abducted?" Miller said, anger rising in his voice. "Like you've been doing for years, haven't you? Those people who disappeared, the strange lights in the sky, that was you." For the first time, Zex Voran seemed surprised. "Your species is more observant than we thought." Miller reached for his sidearm, but before he could draw it, the doors slid open and 6 alien guards entered carrying strange weapons. "Take them," Zex Voran ordered. What happened next was chaos. Miller managed to draw his gun and fire at one of the guards. Dr. Jones threw his scanner device at another. Ambassador Martin tried to run for the door but was caught by the insect-like alien's forearms. Miller watched in horror as one of the guards fired a weapon at George Brown, their security officer. Brown's body seemed to age rapidly, turning to dust in seconds. The same happened to 2 more of Miller's team before he could react. "Stop!" Miller shouted, pointing his gun at Zex Voran. "Or your leader dies next." The guards hesitated. "You see?" Zex Voran said calmly, despite the gun aimed at his head. "This violent reaction proves our assessment correct." Miller backed toward the door, keeping his gun on the alien leader. "Dr. Jones, with me, now." Together they fought their way back to their shuttle, leaving Ambassador Martin and 3 dead humans behind. As their small craft detached from the Council ship, energy beams tried to capture them, but Miller's piloting skills got them away. Back on the Defiant, Miller ordered an emergency jump back to Earth. His hands shook as he recorded his report. For Earth's leaders, this wasn't first contact, he told the recording. This was first conflict, and I fear it won't be the last. They've been watching us, abducting us, studying us like lab rats, and now they want to control us. He looked out at the stars as the Defiant raced home. They think we're primitive and dangerous. Well, they might be right about one thing. His face hardened with resolve. If they want to see how dangerous humans can be, they just found the perfect way to provoke us. On Earth, the news of what happened spread quickly. Humanity had hoped for friends among the stars. Instead, they found masters who wanted to cage them. Earth would not bow down. Earth would not be contained. The Galactic Council had made a terrible mistake. They had provoked Earth, and soon, very soon, they would pay for that mistake in blood. 6 months passed since the failed first contact. 6 months of preparation, fear, and anger. The people of Earth, once divided by borders and old conflicts, now stood united against a common enemy from the stars. Dr. Samantha Wright stared at the alien device on her lab table. The small silver cylinder had been recovered from a crashed Council scout ship in the Arizona desert. Dark circles under her eyes showed how little she had slept in recent weeks. At 38, she had been one of the world's top physicists before the aliens came. Now she was Earth's best hope for understanding Council technology. "Any progress?" asked General Frank Carter as he entered the underground lab. His uniform was crisp, but his face showed the same tiredness that marked everyone working on Earth's defense. Samantha looked up. "Yes, actually. I think I figured out how their shields work." She pushed her long brown hair away from her face. "And better yet, I think I know how to break through them." Carter's eyes widened. "You're sure?" "As sure as I can be without testing it on an actual Council ship." She pointed to her computer screen, which showed complex equations. "Their shield technology uses a form of energy we've never seen before, but it has a pattern, a rhythm. Hit it at the right frequency and it falls apart." The general nodded slowly. "Like how the right musical note can shatter a wine glass." "Exactly." Samantha smiled for the first time in days. "We've also made progress on their faster-than-light drive." We might be able to build our own in a year or two, not the decades we first thought. The general walked to the large window that looked out over the massive underground hangar. Below, hundreds of workers swarmed around 5 new spacecraft. They were Earth's first true warships, built using a mix of human ingenuity and reverse-engineered alien tech. "The Council thinks we're primitives," Carter said. "They don't understand what humans can do when our backs are against the wall." Samantha joined him at the window. "How's Captain Miller doing with the fleet training?" "Admiral Miller now," Carter corrected. "He's pushing the pilots hard. The simulations show we might actually have a chance against the Council ships, especially with your new weapons." In another part of the facility, Admiral Alan Miller watched as pilots trained in virtual reality pods. The simulators recreated Council ship movements based on data from the few encounters Earth forces had survived. Miller had spent every waking hour studying alien tactics, looking for weaknesses. "Run it again," he ordered a group who had just finished a simulation. "Your response time to the flanking maneuver was too slow. In real combat, you'd all be dead." One of the pilots, Lieutenant John Cooper, stepped forward. "Sir, we've been at this for 12 hours straight." Miller's face softened slightly. "I know, Lieutenant, but the aliens won't give us a break in real battle. Every second of training might save your life out there." He looked around at the tired faces. "One more run, then get some rest." Outside, Earth's atmosphere, the Council blockade continued. 12 large alien ships formed a net around the planet, preventing any human vessel from traveling beyond the moon. Smaller scout ships occasionally tested Earth's defenses, probing for weaknesses. On the Council command ship, Subcommander Trelnax reported to his superior. Unlike High Counselor Zex Voran, Trelnax had gray skin with blue patterns and 6 eyes arranged in a circle on his face. "The humans have shot down another of our scouts," he said. "That's the 3rd this month." Commander Vril Lox, a tall, thin alien with red scales, hissed in annoyance. "Impossible. Their weapons shouldn't be able to penetrate our shields." Nevertheless, they did. Trelnax showed a recording of the incident. A small Council ship flew low over Earth's surface when suddenly a missile from a hidden human base struck it. The scout's shields flared blue for a moment, then failed completely. "They're learning," Trelnax said quietly. "Adapting, much faster than the Council predicted." Vril Lox dismissed the concern with a wave of his hand. "A lucky shot, nothing more. Humans are centuries behind our technology. The Council has contained dozens of young species before. This one is no different." But Trelnax wasn't convinced. Something about these humans worried him. They were unpredictable, resourceful in ways the Council had not seen before. Back on Earth, in a small town in rural Ohio, civilians were having their own encounter with Council forces. A Council scout ship had landed near a farm, and alien beings were taking soil and plant samples. They also seemed interested in the farm animals, using strange devices to scan the cows and pigs. Bill Mason, the farmer, watched from his house with his wife Mary and their 2 children. "I called the Defense Force," he whispered. "They said to stay inside and not engage." Mary clutched her husband's arm. "What do they want with our farm?" Before Bill could answer, they heard a noise like thunder. A small human aircraft appeared over the trees, moving faster than anything they had ever seen. It fired a weapon at the Council scout ship. The alien vessel's shields flickered but couldn't stop the attack. Within seconds, the scout was a burning wreck in the middle of the cornfield. Defense Force soldiers arrived minutes later, securing the area and retrieving both alien bodies and ship parts. A young officer approached the Mason family. "Thank you for the alert, sir," she said to Bill. "Every bit of their technology we can recover helps us prepare." 2 days later, Dr. Wright stood over the remains of the scout ship, excitement clear on her face despite her exhaustion. "This is it," she told General Carter and Admiral Miller. "This is what we needed. The ship's navigation system is mostly intact. It shows all their jump points, their bases, their supply lines." Miller studied the star map projected above the lab table. "There," he pointed to a location near Proxima Centauri. "That's their closest forward base. And look at the patrol schedule. There's a gap in their defenses every 42 hours. Carter nodded grimly. So we have a target. But how do we get past the blockade around Earth? Dr. Wright smiled. That's the best part. This data shows a jump point they don't know we know about. It's small, unstable, but our new ships should fit through. We can bypass the blockade completely. For the first time since the failed first contact, real hope filled the room. Earth had spent 6 months preparing, building, learning. The Council thought humans would remain trapped in their own solar system, slowly giving up hope until they accepted alien rule. They were wrong. Admiral Miller looked at the star map, his face set with determination. Begin preparation for Operation Thunderbolt. In 1 month we take the fight to them. As night fell across Earth, lights burned in labs, factories, and training facilities around the world. The human race worked as one, preparing for war among the stars. The Galactic Council had severely underestimated the species they had provoked. Soon, very soon, the aliens would learn just how costly that mistake would be. Admiral Alan Miller stood on the bridge of the UES Vengeance, Earth's first true battleship. Through the main viewport he watched as 5 other human warships moved into formation. Each ship gleamed with new metal, their hulls marked with the United Flag of Earth, blue with all the continents shown in green surrounded by white stars. All ships report ready, Admiral, said Lieutenant Susan Clark, now his communications officer. Miller nodded. Then it's time. Begin Operation Thunderbolt. The small fleet of Earth ships moved toward a seemingly empty area of space just beyond Mars. According to the alien data Dr. Wright had decoded, a hidden jump point existed here, a natural wrinkle in space that could be used for faster-than-light travel. The Council knew about this jump point but considered it too small and unstable for their larger ships. They hadn't bothered to guard it. Approaching jump coordinates, reported the pilot, Lieutenant John Cooper. His hands moved steadily over the controls despite the tension everyone felt. Activate jump drives, Miller ordered. Blue energy gathered around the human ships. Dr. Wright had spent months adapting Council technology to work with human engineering. No one knew if it would actually function as planned. This would be the first real test. Jump in 3, 2, 1. Cooper counted down. The stars seemed to stretch and then snap. A flash of blue light filled the viewports. Everyone on the bridge held their breath. When the light faded, they were no longer in Earth's solar system. A red dwarf star hung in space before them. This was Proxima Centauri, the closest star to Earth's sun. And orbiting it was a council base, a large ring-shaped structure with dozens of ships docked along its edges. We made it, Miller said quietly. Then, more firmly, battle stations, all ships, execute attack pattern Alpha. The Earth fleet accelerated toward the alien base. For several long moments, there was no reaction from the Council forces. They weren't expecting visitors, especially not human warships that shouldn't have been able to leave their solar system. Dr. Samantha Wright stood at a science station on the bridge, monitoring the new weapon systems she had designed. I'm detecting. Their shields powering up, she reported. They've spotted us. Miller's face was grim. Too late for them. Target their main power core and their communication array. We need to hit hard and fast. The first shots from the Earthship struck the unprepared Council base before its shields were fully raised. Dr. Wright watched with satisfaction as her shield-piercing weapons worked exactly as she had designed. The specialized energy beams passed through the alien shields as if they weren't there, striking the base's outer ring. Direct hit, shouted the weapons officer. On the Council base, alarms blared. Council officers rushed to battle stations, confused and shocked by the sudden attack. How had humans gotten past the blockade? How were their primitive weapons penetrating Council shields? Commander Vrillox stormed onto the command center, his red scales flushed darker with anger. Return fire! Launch all fighter ships! Sub-Commander Trelnak studied the sensor readings with his 6 eyes wide in surprise. Sir, those are Earth ships. They've somehow adapted our jump technology, and their weapons. I don't care how they got here, Vrillox snarled. Destroy them! Council ships began to detach from the base, moving to engage the human fleet. They were larger and more numerous than the Earth vessels, but they moved slowly, still recovering. From the surprise, Miller watched the alien ships approach. "Remember your training," he told his crew. "They have more ships, but we're faster and we know their weaknesses. Evasive pattern Delta. Focus fire on their lead vessel." The Earth ships broke formation, moving in unpredictable patterns that confused the Council targeting systems. The UES Vengeance dove beneath a large Council cruiser, firing upward at its vulnerable underside. The shield-piercing beams cut through metal and machinery, causing a series of explosions along the alien ship's hull. Throughout the battle, Dr. Wright continued to analyze the Council defenses, making real-time adjustments to the Earth weapons. "They're adapting their shields," she called out, "switching to frequency pattern B." The battle raged for nearly an hour. 2 human ships suffered heavy damage, but the Council forces lost 5 vessels and their main base was crippled. The remaining alien ships began to retreat, jumping away to safety. "They're running," Lieutenant Clark said, disbelief in her voice. Miller allowed himself a small smile. "Secure the base. I want boarding teams ready in 5 minutes." Soon, Earth, soldiers moved carefully through the damaged Council station. They found dead and injured aliens, but also many who surrendered without a fight. The Council forces had never expected to face human attackers, especially not this far from Earth. Their security protocols were designed to keep prisoners in, not invaders out. Miller and Dr. Wright led a team to the base's control center. There they found Sub-Commander Trelnax injured but alive, but Commander Vrillox was dead, killed when his command station exploded during the battle. "You should kill me," Trelnax said when Miller approached. "That is what the Council would do to captured humans." Miller shook his head. "That's not how we do things. You'll receive medical attention just like our own wounded." Trelnax's 6 eyes blinked in confusion. "I do not understand. We treated your kind as animals to be contained. Why show mercy?" "Because proving you wrong about us is as important as winning this war," Miller replied. Dr. Wright knelt beside a Council computer terminal. "Admiral, I've accessed their network. This base was more important than we thought. It's a major communications hub for this entire sector." Miller nodded. "Can you send a message through their system, to all ships and bases in range?" "I think so," Wright replied, her fingers moving over the alien controls. "What do you want to say?" Miller thought for a moment. "Tell them that Earth is no longer contained. Tell them we didn't want this war, but we will finish it. And tell them that any Council force that surrenders will be treated fairly under Earth's laws of war." As Dr. Wright sent the message, Miller looked out a viewport at the stars. Humanity had taken its first step beyond their solar system, not as explorers, but as warriors. It wasn't what he had hoped for when he dreamed of meeting aliens, but the Council had left them no choice. In the medical bay, the human doctors treated injured Council soldiers alongside their own wounded. One alien, watching this with confusion, asked a human nurse why they were helping enemies. She simply answered, "Because that's what humans do. We fight when we must, but we heal when we can." The message sent by Dr. Wright spread quickly through Council space. Some dismissed it as human propaganda. Others began to question what they had been told about humans. And some, those who had long suffered under Council rule, began to hope that perhaps these humans might bring change to a galaxy that desperately needed it. Earth had won its first battle among the stars, but the war had only just begun. News of the human victory at Proxima Centauri spread quickly through Council space. In the grand meeting hall on Zenthra Prime, the Council capital world, angry voices echoed off the curved walls. 50 alien representatives from different species sat in rising tiers around a central speaking platform where High Counselor Zex Voran stood. His purple skin flushed darker with rage. "This human rebellion must be crushed immediately," he shouted, slamming his 3-fingered hand on the podium. "I have authorized the use of our most powerful weapons against their fleet and their homeworld." Senior Counselor Ava Rea rose from her seat. Unlike most Council members, she looked almost human except for her blue skin and silvery eyes. "High Counselor, using planet-killer weapons against Earth would violate our oldest laws. We have never used such weapons even in the Great Expansion Wars. Zexfaran turned his large black eyes toward her. The laws exist to serve the Council, not to bind us when facing extinction. These humans have proven more dangerous than any species we have encountered in 5,000 years. Perhaps, Ava Rea replied calmly. We should ask why. We approached them with deception and threats. We treated them as lesser beings to be controlled, not as potential allies. Murmurs spread through the hall. Some council members nodded in agreement while others shouted for human blood. The council was splitting into two camps, those who saw humans as a threat to be eliminated, and those who believed the council itself had created this conflict. Through its arrogance. On Earth, Admiral Miller and Dr. Wright reported their victory to General Carter and the United Earth government. Holograms of the battle played over a large table as Miller explained their tactics. The council forces were completely unprepared, Miller said. Our weapons cut through their shields just as Dr. Wright predicted. We've secured their base and captured valuable data and prisoners. Carter nodded approvingly. Excellent work. And what have we learned from the prisoners? Dr. Wright stepped forward. Something unexpected, General. The aliens we captured seem confused by our treatment of them. They expected to be executed or tortured. Instead, we provided medical care and humane conditions. One prisoner in particular, Sub-Commander Trell Nax, has been especially helpful, Miller added. He's begun to question the Council's views on humans. And he's not alone. According to him, not all species in the Council agreed with the decision to contain Earth. Wright pulled up new images on the holographic display. We've also discovered that the Council rules over many species that aren't full members. Some are essentially slaves, providing labor and resources without any voice in Council decisions. General, Carter frowned. So this isn't just a war for our survival anymore. We might be fighting for the freedom of other species too. There's more, Miller said grimly. Trellnax has warned us about ancient defense systems protecting the Council's core worlds. Weapons more powerful than anything they've used against us so far. In the medical wing of the Earth base on Proxima Centauri, Dr. Wright sat across from Sub-Commander Trellnax. After weeks of treatment and conversations, the alien no longer viewed her as an enemy. My people joined the Council 500 years ago, Trellnax explained. His 6 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of sadness in his feces. We had little choice. The Council fleet appeared above our world and gave us 2 options: join or be contained. We chose to join, but over time we lost much of our independence. That's why the Council approached Earth the way they did, Wright realized. It's how they've always operated. Trellnax's eyes shifted to a blue color. Yes, but never before. Has a primitive species fought back so effectively? You humans are different. Different enough to change things? Wright asked. Perhaps. Trellnax hesitated. There are members of the Council who have long opposed the current leadership, like Senior Counselor Ava Rea, if you could contact her. Wright immediately brought this information to Admiral Miller. Together they devised a plan to reach out to the Council moderates through secret channels. Using Trellnax's knowledge of Council communication systems, they sent a message directly to Ava Rea, proposing a ceasefire and negotiations. Back on Zenthra Prime, Ava Rea received the human message in her private quarters. Her assistant, a member of Trellnax's species, watched nervously as she read it. The humans offer peace, she said, sounding surprised. Despite everything we've done to them, they're willing to negotiate. Will you respond? The assistant asked. Yes, Ava Rea decided, but secretly. Zexvaran would consider this treason. Unknown to her, surveillance devices in her quarters recorded everything. Within hours, Zexvaran knew about the human message and Ava Rea's planned response. In his private chambers, the High Counselor summoned his most loyal commander, a massive reptilian alien named Krex. Senior Counselor Ava Rea has betrayed us. Arrest her immediately, then prepare our special weapons. It's time to show these humans the true power of the Council. What of the laws forbidding the use of planet killers? Krex asked. Zexvaran's thin lips curved in what passed for a smile among his kind. The Council makes the laws, and soon I alone will speak for the Council. As Ava Rea prepared her response to the humans, armed guards burst into her quarters. She did not resist as they took her away. Throughout Council space, news of Ava Rea's arrest spread quickly. Many species that had long suffered under Council, Rule saw it as the final proof that the current leadership had become corrupt. Rebellions broke out on a dozen worlds. Council ships found themselves fighting on multiple fronts as former member species declared independence. On the Vengeance, Admiral Miller received reports of the growing chaos in Council space. "This is our chance," he told his officers. "While the Council is distracted by internal conflicts, we push toward their core worlds." Dr. Wright looked concerned. "What about Ava Rea? She was our best hope for a peaceful resolution." "We'll try to find and free her," Miller promised, "but we can't delay our advance. Zexavaran is preparing to use their most powerful weapons against Earth. We need to stop him before he gets that chance." The Earth fleet, now joined by ships from rebellious Council species, prepared for the final push toward Zenthra Prime. What had begun as Earth's fight for survival had become a galactic civil war. The Council was fracturing, its 5,000-year reign of control coming to an end. As the combined fleet jumped toward the Council capital, Miller looked at the star map showing their target. Zex Voran started this war when he thought humans were too weak to fight back. Now he'll learn just how wrong he was. The final battle for the galaxy was about to begin. The combined fleet of Earth and rebel alien ships emerged from jump space near Zenthra Prime. The Council capital world glowed blue-green below them, surrounded by a defensive ring of warships and space stations. Admiral Miller stood on the bridge of the Vengeance, watching as the enemy forces moved to intercept them. "They were expecting us," he said grimly. Lieutenant Susan Clark nodded. "We count over 200 Council ships, Admiral. That's more than twice our number." Miller's face remained calm. "Numbers aren't everything. Dr. Wright, status of the special weapons?" Dr. Samantha Wright looked up from her console. "Ready, Admiral. The modified shield-piercing beams should be even more effective than before, and our new jamming system is active, blocking their communications." "Good." Miller turned to Trelnax, who now wore an Earth uniform with a translator badge. Where would they be holding Senior Counselor Ava Rea? The alien's 6 eyes focused on a holographic map of the planet below. "The Council prison is here beneath the central government complex. It's heavily guarded, but with their communications jammed, the guards won't know what's happening in orbit." Miller studied the tactical display. "Then we need a 2-part attack. The main fleet will engage their ships, while a small team takes a stealth craft down to the surface to rescue Ava Rea." "I should go with the rescue team," Trelnax said. "I know the prison layout and security systems." Miller nodded. "You'll go with Dr. Wright and a squad of our best soldiers." He looked at Wright. "Find Ava Rea and get to the defense network. Control center. We need those ancient weapons disabled before Zexvoran can use them against Earth." As the rescue team prepared to leave, the space battle began. Earth ships and their alien allies moved in fast attack patterns, confusing the Council targeting systems. The shield-piercing weapons proved devastating once again, cutting through Council defenses like they weren't there. On the Council flagship, High Counselor Zexvoran watched with growing anger as his forces suffered heavy damage. "Activate the TOW defense network," he ordered. "Target their homeworld." Commander Krex hesitated. "High Counselor, those weapons have never been tested. The power requirements will drain our shields." "Do it," Zexvoran shouted. "I will not let these primitives destroy everything we've built." Deep beneath the planet's surface, massive ancient machines began to power up. Built thousands of years ago by a species now extinct, these weapons had the power to destroy planets from across the galaxy. The Council had kept them as a last resort, never before daring to use them. Meanwhile, Dr. Wright, Trelnax, and a team of Earth soldiers landed on the planet in a small stealth craft. Using Trelnax's knowledge, they bypassed security and entered the prison complex. They encountered guards but quickly subdued them with stun weapons. This way, Trelnax led them down a long corridor to a heavily secured door. "She's in there." Wright used a device she had developed to override the lock. The door slid open, revealing Senior Counselor Ava Rea, sitting calmly on a simple bed. Despite her imprisonment, she maintained a dignified posture. "You must be the humans I've heard so much about," she said, standing up. "I am Ava Rea. Dr. Samantha Wright. We need to get you out of here," Wright said urgently, "and we need to stop Zex Voron from activating the ancient weapons." Ava Rea's silver eyes widened. "He wouldn't dare. Those weapons are forbidden for good reason. They're too powerful, too unpredictable. He's already started the activation. Sequence, Trelnak said. We need to get to the control center. They moved quickly through the complex, with Ava Rea guiding them to a hidden elevator. "This will take us directly to the heart of the defense network," she explained. In space, the battle continued. Earthships had broken through the first line of Council defenses, but were taking heavy damage. Admiral Miller directed the fleet, with calm efficiency, adjusting tactics as needed. Then alarms blared across the Vengeance. "Energy spike from the planet's surface," Lieutenant Cooper reported. "It's massive, unlike anything we've seen before." Miller's face hardened. "They've activated their superweapons. All ships, press the attack. We need to break through now." On the planet below, Wright, Trelnax, and Ava Rea reached the ancient control center. The room was filled with technology that looked far different from the Council's usual designs. Glowing symbols covered the walls, and a massive crystal pulsed with energy at the center. "This technology is not Council," Wright said, studying the controls. "It's from something much older." "The precursors," Ava Rea explained. "The species that ruled this galaxy before the Council. These weapons were their last creation before they vanished." Trelnax pointed to a console where Zex Voron stood, working the controls. The High Counselor had not noticed them yet, focused entirely on activating the weapons. "Target locked on Earth," Zex Voron said to himself. "Power at 80%. Soon these humans will be nothing but a memory." "Stop," Ava Rea stepped forward. "Zex Voron, you cannot do this." The High Counselor turned, surprise and then rage crossing his alien face. "Traitors and humans together. How fitting that you'll witness the end of this rebellion." Wright studied the energy readings on the crystal. "He's channeling too much power. The system is becoming unstable." Zex Voron laughed. "It doesn't matter. In moments, Earth will be destroyed and the Council will stand supreme once more." What happened next was too fast for human eyes to follow. Zex Voron reached for a weapon, but Trelnax moved more quickly, tackling the High Counselor away from the controls. Wright rushed to the console, her fingers flying over the alien technology as she tried to shut down the weapons. "I can't stop it," she shouted. "The target is locked and the firing sequence has begun." Ava Rea stepped to her side. "We can't stop it, but we can change the target." Her hands moved over the controls, redirecting the weapon's aim. In orbit, Admiral Miller watched as a massive energy beam shot from the planet's surface. But instead of heading toward Earth, it struck the empty space nearby, creating a ripple effect that disrupted jump space in the region. "What just happened?" he asked. On the surface, Ava Rea explained. "I redirected the weapon to strike empty space. The jump points around this system are now closed. No ships can enter or leave using faster-than-light travel." Zex Voron, pinned, down by Trelnax, screamed in rage. "You've trapped us all here." "No," Ava Rea said calmly. "I've created a chance for peace. No reinforcements can arrive for either side. We must now find a resolution together." Over the next few hours, the fighting slowly stopped. With Ava Rea sending messages to the Council forces, many surrendered, rather than continue a war they could not win. Council guards arrested Zex Voron for his attempt to use forbidden weapons. A week later, representatives from Earth and the various Council species met in the Grand Hall, where the Council had once ruled alone. Admiral Miller, Dr. Wright, Trelnax, and Ava Rea sat together at a round table, symbolizing equality among all present. "The old Council is gone," Ava Rea announced. "In its place, we propose a galactic federation where all species have an equal voice." Miller nodded. "Earth accepts these terms. We came here to fight for our freedom, but we stay to build something better." As the new alliance took shape, Dr. Wright and Trelnax worked together to restore the jump points. allowing travel between systems once more. The war that had begun with council arrogance ended with a new understanding between species. 1 year later on Earth, a memorial was built to honor those lost in the conflict. Beside it stood a new academy where humans and aliens studied together. Admiral Miller, now Earth's ambassador to the Federation, often visited to tell students the story of how humanity had been provoked but had ultimately chosen peace over vengeance. The galaxy had learned a costly lesson, that freedom could not be contained, that diversity brought strength, and that even in the darkness of war, there remained the possibility of a brighter future for all.